Hello, welcome. I'm Will, the nerdy nerf herder, and kind of like last time, I'm super excited to be here today to build with you all. And we're going to go ahead and jump right back into the building. And so obviously we got a nice little field of flowers and trees and whatnot growing up here. So all of this will be harvested, and this will eventually be where our front mall will be for the museum, and all that will go away. But before we hit that stage, we need to finish off the interior of this build, and then we need to build the back end of the museum up. So let's get to building. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and establish the walls here for this section of the build. So we're going to start over here, and then we'll go across the hall for the exciting part. Okay. Do 1, 2. Because the exciting part's honestly going to be the fossil builds. I think that is the part that really makes the build special, is how we're doing the fossils. Okay. I want to delete that. Because what we're doing here is we're mirroring. We're not. Alright. Then. Alrighty. Moving right along. So this section of the build here is going to be part gift shop, part science lab. So in my original museum, I had this tiny little section of the build that was dedicated to science research. And I felt that was an important part to bring over here because I always think it's really cool when museums do their own thing for that. So, real quick here, we got to put in our pillars. So, having a science lab in the museum, something where they show that they're actively working to advance the studies that they're in, is something that I think is important to every museum. Because I think we always need to keep learning more. Alrighty. Did I do that for this? I think I did this. And then this one. So I do these test builds, and I probably should have taken more pictures of it, but to get extra fine details. But like this one, I just kind of looks like, okay, I think I got it for the most part. We can build this. So 14 more, which means we got to add more because we're not there yet. Huh. And then 2. As I try to remember, what did I use only 2 for? Hmm. All right, I'll figure it out. We're going to go ahead and just swap this one out. Because I have a feeling that that's going to come back on me here. All right. So next step is get our walls. We want 4 blocks. And this is just more of that Pokemon Center wall middle block that we're using in other sections of the build, painted white. Did I do something with it there? Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll get it figured out. I always do. The more we work on this build, the more I will know what I'm doing with it. All right. So that should all be appropriately placed. I know where it is. Okay. Well, I know where part of it is. Hmm. You're not supposed to be like that. And this is our Pokemon Center wall upper block. Painted white, just like on our previous builds. So we need it on this level. Alrighty. That's right. Okay. Sorry about that. The reason we don't have enough for that length because we don't go that length. Alrighty. As we try to piece together where exactly I'm getting these other 2 blocks from, and I think we know where. Alright. And now, for probably the easiest part of the build. Oh. I'm still... Okay. Alright, what am I doing here? Alright. Pokeball wall makes its return. Because we need that glow effect. So yesterday I kept glitching through the ceiling. I wonder if that means on this build I might glitch through the floor this time. So it's usually in about this phase of the wall we figure out where it is that I changed up from the test build. Because we end up being like, oh, well, I don't have this, or I don't have that. So, spoiler alert, we're building bathrooms, by the way. add a little bit of a touch of realism to this museum. Probably not the most exciting thing to be building, but that's why we're doing it now and getting it out of the way. Hmm. That's part of the missing puzzle there. Again, more Pokeball wall. So if I recall, somewhere, let's see here, in the middle. I know that this window. Alrighty. Things are starting to come together here. I think this is where these come into play. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, obviously, we're going to balance this out. 5 and 5. Which means that our pillars came in with that. And I think this is what we ended up with. So each of these rooms get a door. And each one gets a block. Alrighty. And this is why I probably should record more of the test build. But we've got these wires up here. Let's go ahead and make our lights. And if I need to go fetch more material so we can make it how I think it should be, so be it. I've got it nearby. That being said, it should all be here. So it's just a matter of finding out where I made the little minute changes. I'll come in here and build these lights. Now the lights in here have a little bit of a different effect to them. I need to remember that. Let's go ahead and take you out. Just because I have a feeling we're not going to have enough otherwise. And then we want to go to the other side and make our lights over there. Which, this gets doors. I wonder. If we do this. That adjusts one for there. Mm-mm. What blocks do we have? Cube lights? I wonder. I would not be surprised. Oh, I should probably go after that. That would be Ho-Oh, and we could honestly stand to get a good picture of Ho-Oh. I haven't gotten one since I made my first bell for summoning Ho-Oh down, so maybe we'll get that later. Alright. We're not going to stress it. We're going to build. Oh, that would be Lugia. It's raining. And here, the lights Because once these lights are built, that means all glow block has been used. And what if that, my friends, is part of our solution? One, two, three, four, five. Center pole. One, two, three, four, five. Something there. What if these cube lights are here? And that puts us with two of these. Hmm. Where did we use a Pokeball wall? I bet I originally had this. Yeah, that I think is what I did. And where else did I do Pokeball? Instead of. Hmm. Oh well. Alrighty. So from here, we have this. That's shaping up nicely. And then next to it, see, I believe I did it like this. No, we messed this one up. Needs to come over. There we go. That little mistake is taken care of. So I think it's time to start adding stuff in to the world. We got two of these. I know this goes there. Now we're going to go into these little rooms here. And we're going to get these set up. So let's see if I can remember exactly how I set this up. There's that item. Then we want one of these. And we're going to stick a cleaning bucket up there. Gotta have clean restrooms. Then we're going to take one of these. Put a little flower on it. That way we have a nice restroom. Then we'll put a rail in. Alrighty, for this we're going to need magnemite. We do that for lighting. And that fan placement looks good. Undo transformation, so because while we're up here we can turn that fan on. And that's almost our little bathroom. Again, I don't like that label sticking there, so we're just going to do it like that. And now, to do it all over again. And we'll replicate that for these rooms. We want this sink. Put that up so we can put our handrail in. And then we're doing the cleaning bucket. Magnet rise for light effect. And fan placement. So we're going to mirror it on this side. So our sink's going to be here. With our towel here. Did I do... You know what? I think I may have done this in the test build. No, because that won't allow me to get all three walls. Okay. Me as I second guessed myself when my first instinct was correct on this part. Put our little tables here, and again, we're just going to mirror. Our trash can, little flower decor, and our cleaning bucket. Now we do have... Oh, I forgot to place that fan. I apologize. We'll get back to it. And I forgot the handlebars. Or handrails again. I'm just full of the forget right now. I have to admit I am excited to finish this project. Or at least this build, section of the build. And start designing the greenhouse part of the build. Alrighty. Get our lights. And our fan. And then we'll go next door and we'll fix it on the other side. My hope is to... So I've already kind of tested the waters a little bit with how big of a building this is going to really be once we add that greenhouse in. And you'll see that later this episode, so to speak. Because we're going to be diving into our let's undo this. No, man, that makes it easier. Okay. We're going to expand our lobby tonight. So when we expand our lobby, you will see kind of the early stages of the build coming back. You know what would make sense? That. That makes sense. Alrighty. We got some vending machines to come in here. And then we're gonna stick some couches down. Oh yes, this one I did. Like this. Just a simple mirroring effect. And then in here, the sinks from before. That I'm sure somebody noticed in my inventory at some point. Alright. Bathroom mirror. Come on. Not against that wall. There we go. Somewhere there is an extra. I used a Pokeball. You know what? No. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah, somewhere we'll use one of these cube lights where I'm supposed to use a Pokeball. We'll figure it out. We're not there yet. First, we're going to build this little book rack. It's going to bug me. Where did we put one of these that's supposed to be a Pokeball? And the only thing I can think of would be as if it was somewhere around in here. Because everything else is checking out. But we need this cube light here. Alrighty. Now we can begin populating these rooms. So we're going to pull from here all the other stuffs. So first things first, put some of these in here. It was like what might sell at a museum gift shop. We need something to help sell stuff. So for that, we're going to put this, and then we're going to make this our plushie area. We're going to put a ditto right there. No. We're going to put an EV here. Then we'll do 3 Clefairies. Yeah. Then ditto. Alrighty. So a lot of museums, they end up having like where you can buy like a nice pretty mineral or something. So we're going to stick that nice pretty mineral right there. And then we needed some counter space for some stuff. And this is where we're going to place down some field grass. And right there. And then we're going to take these cardboard boxes. This will be our backstock. Since we don't have a back room. Berry basket here. Berry basket here. Then we use magnet rides to get rid of these blocks. And it looks like they're hanging off the wall, like floating shells. And then we stick another round below it. Alrighty. Then we have more counter spots. So over here, I decided to put some stuff for sale. And I was like, these aren't necessarily science, but considering that psychic Pokemon exist and whatnot, and it could be crystals, we put those there. Then we want to put a couple of microscopes because what museum gift shop doesn't sell microscopes? And then we have the meteor lamps as part of our display as well as our model planets. And then we need our countertop here. So for this, we're just gonna 2, 3, 2, 3. And that should finish our countertop part. We're going to give our cashiers a stool here. We got some berry wall hangings. These would also sell. Because, like, my thought process is, yeah, we don't have astronaut ice cream that we can sell here, so we got to make up something there. And then 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is our behind the counter stock, which I decided we needed to have. And then we're going to need a step ladder to be able to get stock. And these are the special items that we just don't want the shoplifters to get, but the cashier can get them for you. All right, put our registers. And then we've got our replica paintings and our menu board. We're going to put this menu board here. And the idea I had behind this menu board is it's going to tell you a little bit about what's going on inside this room that you can view. The next thing I wanted to place are our tea sets. Because what museum doesn't have fancy dining ware for sale? This register. Oh, there we go. One over. So that way, if Pokemon actually end up using this for trade. But there's always a museum pin holder with pencils and pens for the museum by the registers. So we're going to use that to represent that. Alrighty. So for these, since we're highlighting a special exhibit, we're going to decorate our lights with them. And the whole idea is that the Sableye Gems exhibit is a special exhibit, kind of like how museums have a rotating exhibit where somebody has brought in something that goes from one museum to the next. That's kind of what I had with that little treasure exhibit. Was also kind of a homage to the gem and mineral exhibits that some museums have. But given that we don't have a huge gem and mineral display or options with my space, I opted for that. So let's see here. Where is... There you go. We're going to put a block on each of these right here, just as if it was part of the lighting. Because originally I did have it there. And these lights were decorated all around with these jewels. and I thought it looked nice. And then I started unpacking or destroying the test build in order to pack it all up so I could build the final product here with you all tonight. Test build, it's me getting stuff, seeing what I like. Well, this was one of the accidental discoveries of things that I ended up liking. Hmm. We also have to get. So, funnily enough, I can't quite get it to stretch properly on this side unless I attach it. But on the front end, it's like, oh, yeah, no, we have no problem. But once we do this, bam. And that looks nice. So we've got how many left? We've got 3 more. That means you all were up here. Now, for the effect, we take the block away. And that was the simple thing. I went to go remove these jewels from the cube light, and then I discovered that effect looks really kind of cute. So, gotta keep it. Alrighty. So, we're placing all of our low tech items right now. You notice I've got these lights in here. We're waiting towards the end for that. So, next thing is going to be our museum paintings. Take a replica art home of an original piece. We got 3 each, which I tell you what, Smear Guru wanted to paint this still life. Hands down, I would get, if I made 10 blank canvases, 7 of them would be still lives, 1 would be ditto, and if I'm lucky, 2 will be landscape, and if I'm unlucky, 1 would be landscape, and I'd have an extra still life. So, all right, moving right along. So now we're going to build on the lab a little bit here. Let's see here. I know we're kind of bouncing forth between the two, but where I want to place those electronic items at the end, I think that's worth mentioning. All right, we're going to stick that there and that there. We're going to put the step stool there, and we're going to stick a first aid kit on top because every lab needs a first aid kit. In fact, I kind of realized there's not enough first aid kits in this building, so we're going to put 2 here by the bathroom just in case. I don't know why I closed that. And now we start placing our joyous tables. And this is where the magic happens in our lab. Put some control units in here because it's science looking. And we need some wires. Definitely need some wires. Every lab needs a little extra wire. Just laying around haphazardly. And then we're going to put our science experiments. And our microscopes. So then We've got one fossil that we're studying here. This part of the lab needs a chair. And then we're also looking at more about this mysterious slate here on this section of the lab. Then we're going to come over here. And this section of the lab. Put a chair for our scientist. And then we're going to put a little bit of spotted cliff rock. And then a little bit of cliff rock. And then we're going to attach this head to it. And then we're going to attach the tail on the other side. And voila! That's the fossil being studied there. And that is our little lab that people can observe in the gift shop. Oh, we got pieces of the science equipment disappearing with the windows. For whatever reason, the glass effect. So you see on those test tubes, the glass effect when viewed through other glass is not kind to us in this game. Oh, no point in placing any more of these. Which means I have officially hit the electrical limit of the game. Bad day. I'm going to have to go into my Team Rocket lab and put away some electronic devices so we can have a little more room to build with. But since it did not trigger until we started placing these lights here, we're only over by 6 items that could be powered up, which means if we bring power over here, these 2 registers here should power up. All right. So somehow this is the build. And I don't like it. We're going to fix some things real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and yank that. We're going to head on out of our into our lobby and go to our little reserves here. And we're going to pull some stuff out to fix that wall. Because I'm not liking how that's looking. And I'm not sure what effect I was going for there. But I do have some walls that we can use to fix things up a little bit. Oh, you're not painted white. You're painted white. I don't need you. You might be useful. We'll go ahead and we'll take 10 of these and we'll paint them white. Make sure I don't have them in another chest already. There's more of that. Alright. Looks like that's where we're at. So we'll paint 10 white. I got the paint for that. I doubt we need all 10 white, but you know, whatever. We're going to use 2 paint whether I paint 1 or 10, so we might as well paint 10 and adjust with what I've got here. So we've really gone out of the way, I feel, to try to make it where this build makes sense. All right. So where's our... I feel like that looks a lot better already. And as I try to figure out where else I changed it on there and there, I feel like maybe we should be doing that swap. And we should do it on all the corners. So let me go to my storage room. I believe I have a few extra one of the middle blocks in there. So Sunday afternoon, I plan on doing a stream. Um, this stream that we're going to do for that is going to be a little different. I'm going to laugh if I already had... Okay, I didn't have it already painted white here. Okay. But I've got more middle block. So we're good. So my daughter has been begging me to do some shiny hunting on the stream. So I was kind of thinking Sunday we might do shiny. It's not shiny Sunday, and make that kind of a designated Sunday afternoons. I shiny hunt, and we'll vary the game between Scarlet and Violet and Legend ZA. I think are going to be my main games that we're going to be hunting in. I just have so much more fun hunting in Scarlet and Violet and Legend CA than Galar. Sword and Shield, that wasn't exactly thrilling shiny hunting. The Dynamax Adventures, that kind of has a bit of a thrill to it. But at the same time, as somebody working by themselves, I feel like it's a little harder to predict what my AI computer opponents are going to make reasonable decisions or not. For what is needed to win the raid and consistently enough for me to shiny hunt solo. All right, I like that wall better. I still don't like this wall. I really am not feeling that light being like that. Maybe like that. Yeah, I can do that. And then again, I'm not quite feeling that. But I think if we set it up like this, it doesn't look too bad. And I think I like having these pillars extended up all the way. And we're going to do that with all the pillars here. Don't want to forget you. And then we went inside the bathrooms. Because technically these are that middle pillar as well. Alright, we're going to break a wall. And then we break a wall, place a wall. Alrighty. I think that looks a little better, a little more refined. I'm still not sure how I feel about. What if we just do this above this door? Since the scientists really don't want you to be in their space. They just want you viewing, or are happy to let you view what's going on in the lab. Hence why I want to do the red and white sign, kind of like a do not enter. Alrighty, that's fixed. Yeah, I'm liking that. I almost feel like we should like put a pillar wall right in here. How much do we have? We only got 2 of those. Nah, we'll let it be. Yeah. So this is our gift shop. With our science lab. Then we've got our museum bathrooms. Gender neutral. With locking door and handicap accessible rail. I debated about using the double wide doors, and then I kind of realized that that's not necessary for how they build. Um, if you consider that most doors, even these were intended as handicap accessible doors. The double wide doors like these are meant for big structures. Like they use them in our museum build, just in the base game, just like we have in ours with this double door here. They're meant to be grand doors that are for these big, lavish buildings or big buildings. And I think, as you look at this, this is a double wide door. It's 2 doors that will then open outward. So, like, I really don't need these both here side by side. I probably will move one set of doors upstairs, but I wanted to make sure I placed them because they're considered counted in our electrical count for our items for this build. Alrighty. So what do we got in here? Oh, dope. We're not 6 items over. We're 8 items over. Because my silly butt forgot to place our berry lamps. And this is kind of like that greenhouse tie-in. The fact that there's so berries, we don't have access to astronaut ice cream or ice astronaut food in general, where they all like to put the freeze dried food in. Alrighty, so I'm gonna get rid of these blocks here before we start on this next part of our building. Because the less I have in my inventory to clutter up our build, the better. Alright. Oh, you. Alrighty, there we go. We got nice clean inventory space. Nothing that can be confused as being part of our build package. So we're just going to start adding my build inventory. We'll keep that there. Now, there are some extra blocks in this section. And that was to give me a little bit of flex room on how I wanted to tweak things. Alright, so the only thing in that chest should be that. And then only thing in this chest should be that. Alright. We're just going to shove this way for now. So, our first build on the fossils since Auroras. Let's get things sorted out here. Let me see here. I've got sandstone, cliff rock, spotted cliff rock. Alrighty. So we're going to start off with spotted cliff rock. And we're going to make spotted cliff rock our base here. Oh, not enough. Well, in that case, let's take some of the spotted cliff rock back. And we're going to add in sandstone. Yeah, that's what we needed. Alright, we swapped out what we could. Perfect. Then we're going to use spotted cliff rock. Give me one moment here. I'm going to see about if I've got a reference picture handy here. Nope, naturally that's not where that is. Let me see if I've got it in my screenshot here. It looks like I did not put it in the screenshots. I wonder. Spoilers. This is what our test build looks like. So we're going for something similar. Alrighty. So we're moving right along. Spotted cliff rock here. A little extra there. And a little extra there. Then we're going to use our regular cliff rock. Go higher on that. Expand that a little bit. I wanted to take this build a little bit higher. So we're going to go ahead and swap out that for regular cliff rock. Because I do love the texture. And we're going to go a little bit higher than what I did the last time. Which means that gets higher. So this is our high point. We're going to curve it I like it like that. Wanted to put, let's see here. Our fossil Pokemon up on this level. So that's our fossil Pokemon. Well, let's go ahead. I don't like that placement. We're going to stick him back a little bit. Yeah. That looks better. And then I want to put some cracked sandstone in a couple places here. And then dried field grass. Swap out there. And then let us put a random copper deposit or two in here. I think that adds a little bit of fun texture to it. Gives it a little pop of color. And then we'll pull some of the spotted cliff rock back. And we can put it in this section of our build a little bit better. Alrighty. So the next thing we want is a few little dried bits. We'll save the other ones for that. Oh, come on now. We're not trying to connect it to the tree. We're trying to connect it to the blocks. There we go. Just to add a little bit of pop and decor. We're going to take one of these couple of these smooth rocks. Originally, I was debating on whether I wanted to have them at all. And I was like, you know what? It wouldn't hurt. They make for a cool decorator piece. Bushes. And we put some dried wildflowers here. Put another one of these shoots there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this red rock here. We're going to swap out that. And then swap out like that. And then put regular cliff rock there. And we're going to put this dried field grass here. I think it makes a little more sense that way. Then some stone debris. Well, shoot fire. Why don't we stick you? Ooh, can I? Yeah, we'll stick it there. That just destroyed part of my... dried verdant or dried root systems there, but that's worth it. Hmm. Yeah. Let's take a. Oh. Let's take a moment and we'll look at this build versus what I had before. So that's what I had before. Alrighty. I think I know what I need to do here. We're going to move that there. We're going to put this dry grass here. And then we're going to put cracked sandstone. Do I have enough cliff rock? Ah, I do have enough cliff rock. We'll do one more layer of cliff rock here. And then we'll take that red grass. And that tree. Boost it one more. Yeah. Take that dry vine. Put that there. Where's that grass? Grass there. Add another dry vine. And we'll get our fossil in place again. There we go. We'll lift this bad boy up out of here. And we'll put a cracked sandstone there for texture. And a little stone debris here. I think that frames it better. Yeah. I dig that. Then we're going to take our pedestal. And we are going to put our armor fossil. You know what? I don't like it on that. We're going to push it this way. Oh, come on. Because I had something on top. There we go. Armor fossil on top. While we're thinking about it, we can go ahead and place these pedestals. Since we know the tail fossil will go there, and the jaw fossil there, and the skull fossil down here. All right. moving right along. So the next section of the build, we're going to build our headbutt fossil. So for this one, since we get it in the Skyland, I thought maybe using the Skyland sandstone as our base. And then we'll use some of the Skyland spotted rock. Now this one I did see on my phone for me to reference how I built it up. All right. So from here, we want our Skyland Cliff Rock. And we're going to start off with this. Then we're going to get some of our spotted Skyland Cliff Rock. In fact, let's make that in reverse. So that way we can see all that texture. And then in the back here, I'm going to place 2 there. And then we're going to place 1 there. And 2 here. Then we're going to take our Skyland Cliff Rock and we're going to kind of fill this in. And I got that reversed. Yay. It's okay. We can fix it. We'll swap it out for some Skyland Cliff Rock. We'll put our texture bits in here. And then we want 1. And then 2. And then 1 here. And then we'll use Skyland Cliff Rock there. We're going to put our Chesta tree up here. And now we're going to put together our fossil. And part of the reason why we want to go ahead and put together the fossil is once we've got the fossil lined up and in place, that'll make getting the rest of the build a little easier to get into place. You know what? What do we have in our... Wonderful. We're going to do this. We're going to take that. We're going to place 1 here. Gives us a little more verticality to it. That was one thing from my test build. I was like, I think I needed to make it a little bit taller. And there we go. So for this one, we've got some of this Skyland copper deposit. I'm going to pop some of that in there as an accent piece. And I had a little extra, like I said, for this section of the build. And then I like that Skyland spotted cliff rock, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that back in there. We're going to put one tree here. And we're going to stick another tree on a cliff rock back here. Then I had some of these stumps. And kind of what I was thinking with the stumps was a bit of creating a tail. Because we also have this driftwood. So my tail is that this beast managed to knock these trees over. Is what I was kind of thinking. Put some sticks in here. And then some large boulder. I may not have used it. Nope, I did not use the large boulder in this build. My apologies. Was that used in the last build? No, I don't see it there. So this is what the test build kind of looked like. So you can kind of see the direction we're heading here. I've got some more of this dried grass. To make things a little more realistic. Let's stick in this stone debris. I think right here we're going to put some of these dried verdant shoots. And then I think what's been missing from this build and the last build as well has been some of these rocks. Just to kind of give it some more character. Let's see here. Yeah. And I've got more of that. We can pick up some more later. And then cave mushrooms. I believe I stuck a couple of these in here just to kind of put some pop of color. Something to make it look a little more alive. Alrighty. So there's two more of our fossil displays knocked out. Which means we are moving right along, people. Alright. So the final display. Oh, nope. I still need to place. Silly me. Have all of these dried vines because I wanted to make a little bit better of a presentation out of it. And the way to do it seemed to be to use the vines. All right. Yep, that definitely helps. So our final fossil is Tyrantums, the despot fossil. So for that, we're going to put a black base with this black rock. And so for this section of the build, I was kind of thinking we need to do volcano. I was like, okay, so I want to build up a volcano. How am I going to do that? And that's where this came into being. So what we're going to do here is we're going to place that right there. And then we're going to place magma rock here, 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 here. And here. Then we're going to right along here. And I promise this will all make sense. Then we're going to take some of that black rock back. And then we're going to start building up. And one of the building ups that we're going to do is we're going to place a block in this center section here. And on top of that, we are going to sit our oven. So now to go get our best handy fire tool outside of an actual fire Pokemon. So we've got the Magby toy statue and a floor switch. So what we'll do is we'll put our Magby statue here. And then we'll place our floor switch here. Alrighty. Now, if I have done this right, when we consume this chili bottle, and then we make lava below it. And naturally, my reaction is to immediately use the chili block. Realize I forgot to get rid of the black rock below it. And yeah, that just simply will not work. So, I need another chili sauce. And as you see, I do not have one in here. That would have been the smart move, was to stick more in that chest. But I do believe I planned ahead and stuck some over here, knowing that I would mess up and need another bottle. Not in that. So that's a preview of some of the stuff that we're wanting to use for the greenhouse. And there's my chili sauce, along with the remainder of my seeds. So I'll be using rototiller. Get all of those out. Let's go ahead, eat our salad. But as I was saying, if we've done this correctly, we should be able to drink our lava or chili sauce and then put it directly under this oven. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to put an iron deposit. How about a gold deposit? Another black rock. And then we're going to use magnet rise. We're going to swap out. And then I'm wanting to place some of this glowing stone, because I think it adds a good, fun color note to our build. And what we're doing here is we're working on building all of our volcano up. So for this, we're going to go ahead and start doing lava rock right here. And I think what the right move is that, 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 and then that. So if we do this right, we will have our volcano. Then we put some of this red rock here. So the first thing I'm going to want is one of these. So what I did in the test build, well, shoot fire, was I went ahead and I got rid of those 2 blocks. Put one of these black rocks back down here. And then we're going to put this magma rock here. And then we're going to place this magma rock there. Large boulder here. And now to finish the volcano. It's fun as I remember parts of the build that I did as a means of helping lift part of it up. Because I think you'll like what you see when I get this effect built up. So we gotta have a little ash. And so our fossil legs are going here. Which means our tail will be there. And then our body and the head. And I think I want to swap out that. And we'll swap out that. And then I want to place an ash block there. Yeah. I think that looks nice. And part of why I wanted to include the gold is when you're farming this black rock, you find a lot of the gold ingots and you find a lot of this glowing stone. And I thought that it just helped add a little something fun to it. All right, so we had this that I did not add over here. Well, let's take you and put you there. You there. And then I'm going to put this one here. We're going to put this heat rock here. And then that one we're going to stick there. You were not there. That. There we go. Now we're cooking. Which means you. And then we do this. And this will actually be a cool effect. Should still flow properly down into here. And then we had some of the fern to help add a little bit of grass life returning to this volcano. I feel like we need to put another piece of black rock right there. Or, yeah. And then I want to put another piece of fern. Nope, we're out of the fern. All right. So we got sticks. I did not place near enough sticks over here for having so many down logs. And that is my fault. In fact, this one could use some sticks too. Add a little character. Yeah, we're looking a lot better. There we go. And then the I wonder. That's what I thought. Okay. I like the push button method. Look at that lava flow. And then we turn it off. Voila. So I think what we need to do is raise this crystal. First of all, we'll go ahead and put black rock there. Let's go ahead and use some of this glowstone there. And then I'll swap out that for lava rock. Oh, no. Swap out that. We'll place the lava rock. There we go. And then one more. And then our crystal. Yeah. So we can get rid of that. And I'm going to put this hut in here. So this is for the human habitat build. Which... I forgot we had this Pokemetal block. Let's add some color pops. Yeah. I like that. There we go. So now our fossil habitats are built. Let's... I almost feel as if Buddy is too low. Let's play with this. So we know in order for this to work, I need to have... What we can do is we can swap out volcanic ash here. And then we'll swap out gold deposit here. That gets us 2 black rock, which we can swap out for here, because this is about to become not visible anymore. And here. And then that gets us our 2 magma blocks that we can place there. That gets us a little higher on this molten rock. And then... I think that's the path. Go ahead and just leave 1 block of ash right there. Push that button. Let's have our lava flow again. Yeah. So there's our fossil displays, everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing this, and I hope the wait was worth it for you. Alrighty. So we're going to remove that. Then we're going to remove that. So what we're doing right now is we're going to get rid of some wall here. I'm going to keep the doors that I've got placed where they're at, mainly because I want to make sure we use that as our benchmark for where I place doors later. But first things first, we got to get rid of some wall. Now you notice I've got some grass blocks here, and I promise it will all make sense in a moment. I said before I was doing some testing for the build. Well, this is part of that testing. So I want to get this all disappeared. And this goes back to why I was so hesitant to fill part of that in, was knowing that we would want to build on the back end some. But not knowing exactly how much. So that line, like on this side, is where we're going. In fact, let's just see. Yeah. That's a little faster. Now, admittedly, that only gets us so far. Then we'll magnet rise on back up. At one point, it's like, okay, the building's pretty much done, except for this one tweak for the lobby. And I'd really like to get that lobby tweak done. And I have to admit, it's a bit more ambitious than I expected to get done. But we will get it. It won't be too bad. And then I think that once we've got the lobby restored with the new dimensions, once we do that, I think we'll end today's episode. And then the Sunday shiny stream. And then Monday we do Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And then we'll resume building in here on Tuesday night stream. Alrighty. So we learned a little bit of a lesson before. And that we want to go ahead and we just want to do this. For as much as we can. Yeah, it feels weird to be destroying this, but in order for me to get the effect that I want, we need to do it. And what's funny is I was actually considering that perhaps needed to move over a little bit as well. So having destroyed that as we were working on it, it's not the end of the world. All right. See, we want to move this over one. And I promise this will all make sense. We move it over one. And that will give us a little bit of breathing room on the sides. All right, that's all we can get with Rock Smash, minus doing it this way. All right, let's suck up these blocks here so we don't lose anything. Because while we are destroying this wall, it does not mean, however, that we don't want that wall. Or at least the block that made up the wall. Alrighty. Oh. Feels so weird. We've worked so long on this building, and this wall has been in place for quite a while. Back of my head, I knew we weren't quite there yet with it. I knew. I should have fixed it a little bit sooner. But here we are today. We're going to get this fixed. And then everything will be copacetic. And we're just going to expand the lobby just a little bit here. And then we're going to place our doors how they're meant to be placed. and fill the rest of this up. And we'll get this lobby wall put in. We'll get our extra elevators put in. And then the next episode that we do this, I will be building the human habitat. And then we will start on the greenhouse aspect. Alrighty, so right off the gate, since we know the wall is getting expanded, I want to swap out this. So that's going to be part of the key for our build. Just a little bit longer. Go ahead and zap this elevator. And zap the elevator on the other side. So that way we can get these ladders positioned. I feel like having the ladders in position will make getting the other changes we need to make easier. So with this one, we'll just go ahead and we'll destroy the entire length of it and start from scratch at the top. As I hope that that power block won't interfere with our ability to place the ladders. Moment of truth, not an interference. Wonderful. All right. So let's go ahead and get our blocks. And our other supplies so we can get this wrapped up. So we're going to need more marble. We're going to need our dark marble flooring and our stone tiling. And with that, that should be all we need to get this fixed up. We'll go ahead and take these 4 ladders. And we're going to add... Let's go ahead and make another set of 20 ladders. And I do believe that I do not have enough Tinkaton parts for the elevator. I do not have any Tinka gear. Alrighty. So rather than finish off the elevators today, we'll finish off the elevators on the next stream. But we can use the 4 we've got to get this started. So first things first, we need to go ahead and give us ourselves some bit more flooring here. And one of the things I'd like to do here is I want to put a wall here. And we're just going to go straight up with it. And then that dark marble flooring to fill in right here. So we know our elevator is 3 wide. which we want to go ahead and place our elevators into place now that we've got that flooring there. Let me get this wall into place. There we go. We got that wall into place. And then we got to place our flooring here. All right. Again, I want to swap out the marble for the stone tiling here. Alrighty. So our elevators are 3 blocks wide. Typically there's that. And then once we're on the level of our stone tiling here, swap out for that. And like I said, we're going to get this finished up real quick here. Shouldn't take us that long. We're just adding the walls back, basically. And then we want to swap out flooring again. So we know that's where our front of our elevator will be. Alrighty. Now we need to place our wall again. So this time we're going to go right up here. Then again, we want to swap out you know what? Let's swap out that for marble. We really can't see it. And I think our stone would be better suited for a different section of the build. Namely, the floor in front of the elevators. There we go. So again, we're going to go back and we're going to finish off our wall here. So again, elevator. 3 wide. And we want to put our ladder up just as high as we did the last two. Alright. And like I said, I'll craft 2 more elevators. Or 4 more elevators, rather. So that way we can properly finish this build. As you can see, we're moving right along on that project. And we're not far from being done. Funny, you notice little things that will have to change. For example, like right here, that needs to go away. Because this is going to end up being this wall. It's like, okay, I'm on. There we go. And then I should take it down like that. And then 1 block will go there and we'll bend outward. And then marble will go there. And then technically, these blocks here shouldn't be here. All right. Moving right along, people. Hmm. Let's see here. We can go straight up with this. Just like on the other side. And then we'll go straight up with this as well. I may need to craft more marble here. But we will get this done. So with this, we know the height is 2. So we can go up. There we go. And then we know we need our flooring. So let's go ahead and get our flooring in place here. Yeah, that looks better. And so we know our gap. We know we need this level here. And then right back to that. And again, we'll go ahead. We'll make this all the way across. As we know that's our level for the doors. Now, can we finish the marble part of the build without making more marble? That is the big question. Bam. And now we fill in the exterior. And once we've got this fixed, we can place our doors where our doors belong. All right. Now for that stone tiling. You know what? I need to place that one marble block. But that we don't do that now. I will likely forget later. And we'll place that tile there. And then we'll go ahead and take our protruding wall. And we'll go along the outside here. And you know what? When you consider that this is where I think the design does not need any more help on that back wall. All right. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and replace this block. And fill in this wall. Then we'll go along the top like this. Because while yes, the other wall will be transitioning in, we're not going to be doing it in the same material necessarily. And then I think we will go this high. So we're going to leave this back end open because this is the wall of the museum that we're coming out of. Then we'll get the greenhouse cafe combo wall up. And if we need to add more of this stone tiling to kind of flesh out our exterior walls, we will. But what we can do, go ahead and move this furniture back. Move these doors in. Where I want them. Ooh, that's a good point. I had these other bits, chair, sofas here, intending to put them here, and failed to do so. And then we had these. All right. Yeah. That's going to look a lot better when we're done with this. I can already tell. Almost don't want to wait on our elevators to get up here. Let's see if I've got more in our storage chest. The building elements. I don't think I have any elevators pre-built. Nope. All right. Do I have tinker parts in here where I can? Nope. So in order for us to get tinker parts, I can't remember if we need iron ore or iron ingots, but we do need one of those two items. And we need Tink Master, our wonderful building Pokemon here. Oof, I'm running low on honey. All right, Tink Master. Look at this. Let's see. Let's no iron bars. Look at this. Yay! There's what we want. You know what? We'll get a stack of those gears. Made by Ticket Master. Oh, how long does it take for the build? That is the big question. Yeah, so we're not going to get those elevators placed until next episode. we'll go ahead and we'll wrap things up. I'm getting those gears made, but we will look at what we've got and do one final tour of the museum so far. So, next episode we'll be doing the human habitat, or well, the next Pokopia episode we'll be doing the human habitat at the on our wing. We will then be going through and placing our final interior decorations for the main structure of the building. So all those potted plants and table decorations that we're going to put out, all of that will go up on the next Pokopia stream. As we look at our gift shop here. And which will get power to these vending machines and those registers. We'll get power to our doors here, and then we'll put the last of the elevators into place. Yeah, I think that was the right move, definitely adding in this other row of elevators. And then on the top here, that gives us a little bit more room here as well that we can do some stuff with. But yeah, there's our build. Take one last look at the fossils here. In fact, outside of the stuff that I need for the test build, which those 4 chairs were originally intended to be used up here. And I think what I ended up doing was something like this. And then, because we know our elevator is going to take up some of that room, I want to do a chair, preferably there. There we go. Do I have a round pillar? I do not have a round pillar top on me. Oh well. So yeah, we'll get those elevators made for next episode. We'll finish our decorating. And then we'll finish the human element of our display room here for our prehistoric humans. All that will be next episode of the Pokopia building on Tuesday. And then on Monday, we will do. We'll go ahead and on Monday, we'll do KOTOR. And on Sunday will be Shiny Sunday. So thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. And until Sunday. And we'll start with, I think, Legends DA for Shiny Hunting. I've been enjoying hunting on there. So we'll see about hunting on there. I think I do have plenty of sandwich supplies for Scarlet and Violet. We'll see. I'll play it by ear. I'll take a look. And I'll probably show off my shiny decks as part of, or shiny living decks as part of the next Sunday's Shiny Sunday. So, thank you for joining me.